Alright, in today's video, we're going to talk some more about these commercial inspections. But in this video, we're going to talk about the photo requirements that are required for a lot of commercial inspections. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and jump right into this. I'm going to go ahead and bring up my presentation right now so we can get busy. Alright, so we are in the commercial field inspection section of the field inspection mastery course. So with for your photo requirements, most commercial inspections are very similar to residential. Again, that's the reason why I started you guys with residential, because it's easier to get on with residential, and then you'll get the background experience so that you can move forward into commercial inspections. And don't worry, you don't have to stay in residential inspections long. Just get your feet wet, learn the ropes on how to do each of those inspections, and then you can start moving into the commercial inspection side of it. Because there may be some companies that may hire you, go ahead and hire you with, with some experience. So I'm just going to be going over the photo requirements, some of the basic photo requirements that I usually take when I'm doing a commercial inspection. And just to let you know, this lesson here that you're having, it is really based off of one company that I work for, because each company is going to be different. Each company may have different photo requirements, so it's important that you read and follow your work order instructions. So here are some of the basic photo requirements. Basically, you have the front of the building, you have the property, and we're going to go over some of these. You have the property, you'll have the address, a suite number if it's applicable, because sometimes you'll go into like a little strip mall where they have different units. So you make sure if the suite number is provided, make sure you capture a photo of it. You want also capture the signage. You want to capture what's adjacent to the left of the property and what's adjacent to the right of the property. And you also want to capture your street scenes, left view and a right view, and interior photos if it's required, and any other additional photos that they may require. So let's go over some of these photos so that you'll know what are some of the basic photos and how, and I'm gonna give you some examples of how I usually take some of my photos. So usually, I mean, again, this is based off of one company, but this company only required at least 12 photos. That is required. For any company that you work for, your photos should always be taken outside your car. And for this particular company, my photos needed to be at least 2 megapixels. So you want to make sure that you set your camera to those specs if possible. Now, when we talk about the front, this is your main photo shot. And basically, this is a glamour shot of the front of the property. So you want to make sure that you fully capture the entire property. If it's a standalone building, you want to make sure that you have space between your left and right side of the building, space between the ground, and space between the top of the building. So just ensure that you're capturing the entire building. Now with strip malls and things like that, there's not much that you can do because you have different businesses connected together. So basically you want to do the best that you can. So basically you want to capture your main photo, try to capture some of the sides of it, even though there's buildings in it. And again, you want to have space between the ground and the roof of the building. All right, and usually these pictures are best taken, from either across the street or at least about 50 feet away. So it's just something to consider. All right. Now this is an example of the front photo. What I inspected here was a subway. All right, and as you can kind of see, there's a business next to the left of it, and there's a business to the right of it, the UPS store to the right of it. All right, so I basically just fully captured the front of the building itself. So when you get into the property photos, basically that's just the size of the property, from top to bottom, and its surrounding property. Um, if you take your photographs from two opposing corners, let's just say you have a large building and you go to the right side of that property. If you can angle your photo to capture the entire building, that's perfect. If you can do that on both sides, that is perfect. Um, because you want to try to capture the sides of the building, along with the front of the building. If you can't just capture the front and the sides in the same photo, then you want to make sure that you're taking multiple photos and capturing the sides, the front again. Sometimes you have to capture the rear of the building, but just you want to make sure that you're capturing, just capture several photos of the outside of the building so that they are aware of what is surrounding the property and things like that. All right. And so this is an example. You see, I stepped back because there was nowhere for me to really, really go. So what I did was I stepped back from the property. So now I can tell what is connected to that property. So now we have a UPS store and we have a cleaners that sit on the side of that particular property that I inspected that day. And because this one didn't have any sides, basically I just took multiple photos of different angles, a left angle, a right angle. This is just an example of one picture that I took that captured what was surrounding that property. So basically you just do the best that you can when you have attached properties like that. So now we're going to talk about your adjacent left and right photos. Basically what that is basically is the close by neighbors, rather it's buildings, units, or properties on the immediate right and left sides of whatever address that you are inspecting. So like for this one here, um, you see there's a cleaners there and there's a UPS store on the right. Um, those are going to be my neighbors. Those are the units that are immediately adjacent to the property that I am going to. And usually it's best taken from across the street and about 50 feet or about 50 feet away again. Um, sometimes you can get it closer. That's not to say that you have to go out to the street, but if you can capture your photos up closer, that's fine. Okay, here are two two of my photos. As you can see, according to that other picture, the cleaners was on my left. So on my left side, this is my left adjacent photo. And then on the right side, this is my right adjacent photo. So these are the adjacent properties, adjacent businesses that are next to the subject property, which is the subway building. One important thing that you want to take, especially when you're doing commercial properties, is taking the photos of signage. And rather that is, it could be an advertising sign for the business. It could be a directory or advertising sign for the overall complex to identify the nearby businesses. Could be the address number that is on a complex sign or a complex directory or on the building. So these are all your signage photos. Address is usually not really going to be in there because you're going to have a separate spot for your address. But if the address is on the glass, let's just say that Subway had the address on the glass and it also has Subway, well, that is also an additional signage. So like this right here, I took a close-up of the signage that was actually on the building. That is the left photo, and then I took a picture of the signage that was at the complex, which is Glen Ridge Point. So this is a complex that this subway was located in. So that is the signage that goes with the complex. So I went ahead and took that because it also identifies what other businesses are located in that complex. So it's very, very important that you go ahead and take your signage photos as well. All right, so your street scene photos. So now you have neighborhood views looking in both directions. All right, so this is on the left. This is the left street scene photo from where that property was. And on the right side, this is the right, going down the right side down that street. So basically, you want to either stand at the curb or in the street if possible. If there's not a lot of traffic, turn one way, snap a photo, turn the other way, snap a photo. All right, now we have really your interior photos. Now, a lot of times when you go out, you have to have take interior photos for these commercial inspections. So what you want to do when you go in and taking photos for your interior, you want to get your main interior rooms like your lobby area or a waiting area or something like that. Like something like a restaurant, you want to make sure that you get like a dining room area, just like the subway. I'll show you that in just a moment. You want to get the dining room area, the food prep area, the kitchen area. Sometimes you can get in there and get those. Um, you want to include, try to capture any major equipment or furnishing that's actually in the property, inside the property. So here are just two examples. This is a couple of interior photos. As you can see on the left here, this is like equipment for this restaurant because they have tables, booths, and things like that. In the right hand side, that's like the food prep area. And because the business was open for business and had customers and things like that, I try not to disturb customers. I try not to even get people in my photos, but sometimes places can be busy, so you just have to do the best that you can. Places like doctors' offices and things like that, I ensure that there's never any people in my photos because it's I just feel like it's more of a privacy issue than anything else. But for common places like restaurants and things like that, as you can see in the right hand picture, everybody's back is pretty much turned. So I hurry up and kind of snapped a photo of the food prep area and partially of the dining room. Now I had taken more photos in this, but I wanted to give you an example of a couple of interior photos that you can take when you're taking your interior photos. And the very last thing is, again, because a lot of people, because each inspection is different. This was just a simple example of basically this was a business verification. This was just a very, very simple commercial inspection, but some inspections require you to take additional photos that may be needed so that they can evaluate the site accurately. Okay, so I've been in situations where I had to take pictures of cell towers, doctors' offices, gas stations, equipment, vehicles. Each inspection is going to be different, and we're going to go over a few of those examples within this training so that you can have an idea of what to look for if you receive one of these different type of inspections. But for now, these are your basic photo requirements that are usually required when you're taking commercial property inspections. All right, so that'll do it for today's video. We're going to go over some more different job types and what's required for some of those inspection types. All right, so I'll see you in the next video.